Sorry, Your Honor. There's indeed something drawn on the back of my list. Is that thing? Oh, God. Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. So, this is the last portion of trial sections for Rise from the Ashes. We're in the home stretch. So, yeah, we got the last portion of this is finally at it. We're on the final day. It's the trial former for the final day of trials. So, we're going to just get into it and see what happens. So, if you guys don't remember, it turns out Chief Police Gant might not be a good guy. As it turns out, he forged evidence and was hiding it in his room safe. So, and also he took our friend, not Mia. No. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since I played this. I don't remember. What was certain? I don't know. It'll come up later. I'll figure it out. Okay. February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lena all morning. Oh, Emma, that's her name. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It's almost as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Hi, Edgeworth. Edgeworth! Knowing you've already figured it out. Yep, I figured it out. Definitely. Yeah, I'm assuming you figured it out as well? The connection between Gant and everything else? Who the owner of the 777 ID card is, that number is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. Yep, that's good. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all data has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. If you claim... But you didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Well, it is presumably his last day in court. I would imagine he would do everything in his power to cover his tracks and make sure he's crossed his T's and dotted his I's. He wants to be thorough before he goes out in a blaze of glory. I can imagine that. I can imagine that would have something to do with it. Lane's signed something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. Okay, you do that, Edgeworth. See you in court, Wright. Bye. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Okay, February 25th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, courtroom number 9. Alright. Time for a time to go out in a blaze of glory. This is it. This one's for all the marbles. If I can't prove that Lena didn't do anything, then it's over. This is my last chance. Court is now in session for trial of Miss Lena Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. I mispronounced prosecution again. Alright. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Oh, this could be bad. Chief Gant? He's a prime suspect. He's probably doing it to throw his weight around. There he is. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Edgy. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? And he's not saying anything. Lena, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? This is bad. Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Hi, Lena. Please don't say anything that's going to incriminate yourself. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? Yeah, huh? Why? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st, on this day of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman. I plead the fifth. God damn it. Alright, this is a twist I was not expecting. Well, that's it. That's game over. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Fine, we'll keep going. In the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. Okay, this is bad. No, Lena! Please don't come. I told you not to say anything. You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. Are you firing me? You suck! But Lena, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. No, we're not doing that. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. The request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Yeah, the lawyer getting fired in the courtroom. That doesn't usually happen. It appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Ah! Edgeworth! One moment, Your Honor. I knew this was going to happen. I figured. He did. So you thought about it then? You thought about it? Okay, we're good. Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Fair enough. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Okay, thank you, Edgeworth. I mean, I know you have your reasons, since you're kind of not on my side, at least in the legal sense. In the non-professional sense, you and I are sort of old buddies that are trying to rebuild our relationship. But I can understand your reasoning. I can understand that you would indeed want to try and be thorough with this case, since I mean, you did threaten to retire. So, come now, Worthy. I understand that this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, And Edgeworth is scheming. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. Edgeworth has grown up in the past 5 minutes. Holy crap. With this sudden confession from the defendants, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. Okay, where is Emma, by the way? I knew that Chief Gant pulled her aside to talk to her, but where has she been this whole time? I request the court to here's her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right for self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Guy. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Okay, so Edgeworth is just kind of making sure everybody's ducks in a row, and he's not having any of it. This is going to be interesting. Edgeworth is just kind of turned no nonsense from 0 to 100. He is done. He is done with this whole charade. He's on my side apparently. He just wants to see the trial reach its conclusion. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Yeah, exactly my point for the past several minutes. Where have you been, Phoenix? Alright. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma. Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Lena's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark, of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. That's fair. I'm sorry. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. Okay, that didn't take much convincing. Alright, here we go. You sure gave him fast. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. We've been building to this. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Alright, 2 years ago. What happened? Don't worry, Emma. Don't be shy. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. But I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. Well, it's not much to go on, but it's a start. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Yeah, Edgeworth kind of has suddenly grown a pair. I will admit that. He's pretty confident in the fact that despite having no evidence, he can somehow pull a guilty verdict out of his ass. I am a little bit impressed there. Okay, 2 years ago, cross-examination. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. Press. I want to make sure I'm thorough. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes. She was second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police Gant. My sister. She was the best detective ever. Alright. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair. I believe they share the same office. Yeah, that's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. So the organ was always there. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lena promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. And we know this is Joe Dark. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Zodok was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky in Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. Is that the... Okay. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were 2 people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Alright, so Gant was in the room. Almost forgot about Gant. Yeah, Gant was there. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. But it got modified. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came out running in. I don't remember clearly what happened then. But I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? I know it's a little traumatizing, but you gotta deal with it. Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Because of an electrical storm. Okay, that makes sense. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman. The victim. Hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago. Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Let's ask about the picture, because I have a picture in my court record. I have a picture somewhere in my court record, right? Check. Yeah, on the back of this, there's a picture. There's a picture of it on the court record. Ask about. This picture the witness drew. I believe it had a very important meaning. But the list of evidence that was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in his chest. Alright, let's press. I know exactly what the picture is. That must have been a real shock. Did you just make a pun? Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. I think he made a pun because of the lightning thing. I could swear he made a pun of some sort. I think. Tell us. What were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage? When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was just watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lena sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I need to do. Present? There we go. Mr. Edgeworth? This little girl put all of her heart into drawing that picture. And yet, you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that, as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident? Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Ta-da! Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. There we go! Key evidence! We have evidence! Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here. Huh. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists. They're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? That's... Okay, we're doing a good job. Order, order! But, Miss Guy, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Huh. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. I think? If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable. Mr. Edgeworth? It's possible. Let's see. Yep. Is something wrong? There is indeed another half of the list. Do you even have to ask? There's another half of the picture. Sorry, Your Honor. There's indeed something drawn on the back of my list. Is that thing? Oh, God. Okay, so... Is that just gonna be a running joke? People are just terrified of the blue badger. Why is there a pic... Okay, but that begs the question, why is there a picture of the blue badger? That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Why is it on the back of his list? Clear this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Well, that doesn't help. Evidence list restored and updated in a court record. Alright. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. Okay, she's in a bit of a daze. What's wrong with Emma? She seems to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Huh. Emma's picture. Well, we're getting pieces of evidence. We're getting pieces of the full picture here. Literally. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think the flash of lightning could burn such an image into your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Dozark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Unless there is a contradiction. Let's see. Let us check and actually see if that holds water, Mr. Judge, sir. Check. It seems to. Yeah, there's no real contradiction, but The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Well, this is going to be interesting, but there's really no evidence here. Alright. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Alright? The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Alright, this is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Let's keep pressing until we get something. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lena Skye. 2 or 3 days later. That's quite the discrepancy, though. The memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. Oh, I'm being at. Okay. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. Alright, let's keep... So at the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall that had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around. And that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What's happened after the lightning flashed? I thought I must have fainted. You fainted? You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? No, I'm just being thorough. What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I'd better watch out. Here he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's not bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well... Uh-oh. That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Is there? Is there a contradiction? Is there a contradiction? How is... okay. Apparently there's a contradiction. Scenes you saw 2 years ago, and there's a I think I know what it is. I want to say I know what it is. This is going to screw me. If I'm not careful, I'm going to be in big trouble. It's missing. Yeah, there's definitely something off, because there should have been a... I think I see it. There's supposed to be a point on that. And that's not it. Well, shit. Okay. I figured that was gonna happen. So, okay. Yeah. There's clearly a contradiction. There's gotta be something. It's interesting that he's saying there's a contradiction. I found it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? Okay, there we go. I think it's, this part here? I don't see where this is strange about. That's because the drawing's... Okay. Well, that didn't work. That's right. How could you... Oh, wow, that... The act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant the death penalty. I guess he means I shouldn't shift the blame to others. Well, so long as the defense has learned this lesson. We're actually gonna look at that picture and report this picture. Court record. It is in here, right? Well, there's no tip on the... That's what the best I can figure. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken, too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Uh-oh. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Okay, I'm back on track. Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does this mean? I've kind of... The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Okay. Well, Edgeworth might be in trouble then. Order! 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 Are you saying that the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor? Please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there's a lie. I'm not lying. I'm not saying you're lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. Alright, now I've convinced Edgeworth. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances that there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? There is another one! I know exactly what it is. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by simple observational error. Mr. Wright. I think I got... In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. But then, what is the broken knife? I assume then that you have some more information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. It's either... Okay. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is the picture of the award ceremony. Ah! Okay, you figured it out. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all the likelihood from this award. Okay, we're getting the pieces out. We're getting it together. Order, order, order. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. An award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! That's a good point. But the prosecutor was the only one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It's a conspiracy, I tell you. It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait! I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth? What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with the with the picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. So, wait a minute. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part deep away inside me. Alright, let's see. Perhaps it would be best if we add this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. Alright, well, we got a piece. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? So, the blue badger... Okay, this is kind of funny. The blue badger, this thing, this abomination of a thing, is somehow the key piece of evidence to unraveling this whole case. What the hell? What the actual hell? Okay. This should be interesting. Yeah, it should be. This is going to be very interesting indeed. Emma's recollection. Alright, let's see what happens. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Uh-oh. Stop! Please, don't pursue this any further. Too late. Lena, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Well, we're going around you. Tough toenails. I could just leave it at that. Because we're going around you. Chief Prosecutor Sky, we've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Yeah, she's not happy. Emma's recollection. Okay, time to cross-examine this. When I saw the man raise his knife. You mean, when you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? So, yeah, she didn't actually see his face, so, because it was pitch black in the room, and the lightning was the only thing that lit up. So she has no idea what exactly she was seeing. For all we know, she could have seen Kermit the Frog. We don't know! I mean, I don't know why I randomly thought of Kermit the Frog, but it's entirely possible. She didn't actually see the murderer. For all we know, it could have been Kermit the Frog. He could have murdered somebody. I mean, that's just a fan fiction I'm going with now, but still, as far as we know, it could have been Kermit the Frog. She didn't see anything. She didn't see anything, so it might have been. It could have been. It probably wasn't, but it could have been. All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I'm confused, though. Why is the blue badger thing? Why don't you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But we all just theorized. Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When the Dark Knight knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Alright? What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast. And I was in shock. I don't remember everything, clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. This guy was almost killed before was a witness to the murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. Okay. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. How could you have seen the blue badger, though? Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. Presumably, we have no idea. And that was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't even exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. Yeah, but it's still weird that it exists at all. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Yeah, and it wound up being a key piece of evidence in a murder case. That's a thing that's happening now. The Blue Badger is somehow connected to a murder, and we don't know why. That's just a thing that's happening. That's just a thing that's happening right now as I'm playing this goddamn game. That's just something that's happening. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I sure saw his shadow. What do you mean you sure saw his shadow? His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. Huh. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. And yet, why is it drawn on the back of your thing? That may well be. Yeah. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh? And I suppose you have an explanation? If so, by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who is this Blue Badger, really? Well... Court record. There we go. That's it. That's the Blue Badger. We figured it out. We figured out the mystery behind the Blue Badger. It wasn't a blue badger. It's a pot. It's a pot. I just might know. The Blue Badger hasn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the Blue Badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright! Huh. Is it in this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in this instant? Please show us this mysterious Blue Badger look-alike. I know what it is. This weird-ass thing. There we go. The mysterious Blue Badger was, in fact, this! But that's... Oh, what exactly is that? I have no idea either. It's okay. You're not alone. I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the Blue Badger. Indeed, it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them. Correcting the angle to look at from. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I need to line this up perfectly. This? This isn't right. I've got to make it more bad, like the Badger. Allow me to remind the defense in case his case hinges on the witness's drawing. If Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew, we cannot accept his claim. I've got to find the right angle. Maybe I should rotate it vertically a bit more? Or horizontally? Come on, Mr. Wright, you can do it. Okay. Oh, there it is. Well, is this a miracle or what? Yeah, that's pretty much a dead match. That's a dead ringer for the Blue Badger. No one can possibly deny this jar of resemblance to the Blue Badger. Yes, but it's still stupid. No. It can't be! Order, order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious Blue Badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that Badger thing was actually a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Yeah, because the jar has blood on it. Indeed? Very well then. Please tell us what's different now that we know the witness has the jar. The murderer. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. As a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lena Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lena Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lena Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. Ah, because they're in the same office. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? They're the same exact office! I finally figured it out. So this is why Lena tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next incident, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Aha! The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No. Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall, yeah. Okay, so Neil Marshall would have been propelled into the back of the suit. You mean, oh no. That, okay. Mr. Marshall died because of me? No. No! Oh God. Well, what did we do? What the hell did we... Thud. Uh-oh, she passed out, didn't she? I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. And yet, that doesn't make sense. Uh-oh. What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances... Joe-Jock murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Okay, that's a good... Imagine that, coming from you. Fair enough. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me. Do you have any conclusive evidence that proved my sister killed Neil Marshall? No. We don't. Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. You got a point. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This all has to be a wild goose chase from the beginning. Okay, in short, it's just been a big circle. So we accidentally convicted Emma of murder by accident, and we have nobody to prove otherwise. Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. Uh-oh. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that the victim had left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left for you. A message from the deceased. Does a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name on the victim may have left behind is in the... I know what he's talking about. If he smacked into the wall and hit the jar, then naturally, if we rotate this the right way, it should reveal something. The dark red stains must be blood traces from the incident 2 years ago. Only the fragment found in Chief Gant's office still has little writings remaining on it. Well, it has to be this, right? This jar is the crux of the problem, so... Well, this is the only evidence I got. It's the only thing I got that proves anything. I'm gonna say is in the evidence. I have no idea if that's actually correct, but let's try it. This message from the deceased. It's already in her possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister's a murderer? I don't think that's what I'm trying to do. Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Okay, but now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Well? Well, let's think. Well, we need to think this through because we only got 3 chances to get this right, and I don't want to screw it up. Check. I want to make sure I get this right, because if I don't, it's going to screw me. Clear handprint can be seen on... Okay, this isn't it. Well, this... If this isn't it, I have no idea. Well, I've gone through all my evidence, but there doesn't seem to be anything. The dark red stains must be blood traces from the incident 2 years ago. Only the fragments found in Chief Gant's office still has lines remaining on them. Well... Wait, we have the testing fluid. Wait, we have testing fluid. So this might be it. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he going to speak the killer's name? Okay, that's it. Okay. If that thing could, I sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here. On the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood on some of the fragment was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to leave behind a message. What that someone apparently wiped away. The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. And the victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright? What kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor? I believe these blessings will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make the letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written, given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Well? Well, we don't have a thing, so... I think I get it. Wait a minute. Oh, crap. If this is indeed right, I'm screwed. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why I've been thinking about it, is saving Lena. After all my efforts, I never thought I would turn her out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people. She may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Well, that's a problem. Seaworthy? Can't say I didn't warn you. Oh, no. Here he is. Chief Gantz. Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his foul murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Zack! Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. I don't like this guy. Didn't you know? We're our defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. And he's stirred up the entire audience. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death? How can they just stand by the order? Well, we screwed up. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Oh, God. Okay. I have no idea what I'm going to say here. I am drawing a freaking blank. So, what happens? I don't understand. I was physically in there. I was physically there, and I don't entirely know what happened. So, based on what I'm getting, okay, I'm trying to logic this out. I'm trying to set the record straight here for everybody at home. From what I can guess, we accidentally convicted Emma of murder by accident, maybe. Why? Why is that a thing that needed to happen in this story? I liked Emma. She at the very least convicted manslaughter, but still, what happened? What did I do? Oh God, that was just a train. That was just an emotional roller coaster there. I was like, okay, it can't be Emma, but it might be Emma. There's a lot of evidence involving Emma that we found. That is weird. We unwittingly did a thing that we weren't supposed to do, I think. Oh, okay. Well, that does it for this episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. How do you like that? We convicted a girl. We convicted a young girl to death to thing. We got a young girl in trouble for murder. Great. That's something I was not expecting to be recording today. Okay, that happens. All right. Well, I think I'm going to leave this episode here and just go take a drink of water or something. Just contemplate what the hell just happened. My God. We just caused a we made our sidekick guilty of something. That's what happened. Oh, okay. Okay. We can solve this. I'm sure we can sort this out. I'm sure we can sort this out. What is the thing that's going to happen next time? Let's check. All right. Char 4. All right. Okay. I'm hoping I did a thing. Okay. I'm hoping I did a thing correctly. I don't know what I did. Okay. I'm gonna leave it here. I just need to leave and recover for a bit. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, check out my Patreon in the description below as well if you want to help support the show. It's only a couple bucks. Helps me out. If you want to see more of this, then by all means, help me out on Patreon. Because that was a hell of an ending to land on. I don't know. I don't even entirely understand the ramifications of what I just did. I need a minute. Okay. But in any case, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.